So by the end of this video, you're going to understand how you reconnect and return to your authentic Black feminine energy fiercely, boldly, and confidently. I am Tamara Tamu, and this is Unleashed Alchemy TV. In this series, this is the second part of this series where we're talking about how religious dogma caused you to disconnect, to be disconnected from your Black feminine essence. If you haven't watched the first part of this, go back, watch that first, and then come back to this episode. All right, we're going to pick up where we left off from the first video, and we ended that first video with talking about how religion caused you to disconnect from your original essence and what that disconnection looked like. We talked about the internal discord that it caused within you. We talked about what self-contempt looks like and how that disconnection caused you to have contempt for yourself without you being aware of it. And so that was the first part. The second part is that the disconnection led to exhaustion. And what does that look like? That exhaustion comes because when you are not living from your essence, it causes you to live from survival and defense. All right? Listen, it causes you to live from survival and defense and not your essence. When you are not living from your essence, when you are living from a religious idea of how you're supposed to be, of how you should be, that is exhausting because now you're trying to pick up parts of you from the outside. That goes against the very nature of who you are as the original woman. You are the original woman with cosmic order. You are the standard. All right. So you were never designed to pick up pieces of you from the outside. You came in to this world whole. And it's time for you to remember that wholeness. That is what we're talking about. That is what as Black women, that's what our religious deconstruction looks like. Okay. So also, because of exhaustion, that's number 2, then the next thing is burnout. You can't continue to go on living from survival and defense until you crash. All right? You crash because you're exhausted. First, it becomes mental exhaustion and then physical exhaustion. So remember I said in the first video, which is why it's very important for you to watch that first, when you have been disconnected from your original essence, you have this internal discord that's happening, all right? Because you're trying to find some balance and some harmony, you're doing all of these things on the outside to try to reach some type of stability, which is not going to happen until you connect with your authenticity. All right. I don't care how many degrees you have. I don't care how many houses you buy. I don't care how many cars you decide to drive in. The internal discord is not going to go away until you stop and say, who am I? And who you are is the original woman. Who you are is the standard. Who you are, you represent cosmic order because of the power of your melanin, because of your status as the original woman. All right. So the third was burnout. Then the fourth thing that your disconnection caused you to do is that you became numb to your own emotions and to your own feelings. Why is that important to know? Because in your emotions, in your feelings, takes place in your body. Religion purposely causes you to disconnect from your own body because it even causes you to view your body as something even evil and sinful, right? So You become numb. You don't even recognize, you don't even give your emotions the space to exist. Okay. Number 5, that disconnection leads to you, and I won't even say loss, but it leads to you forgetting that creative spark. Why is your creative spark important? Because your creative spark is what also rests within your body. Your creative spark rests within your sensuality. That creative spark rests within your womanhood. That creative spark is attached to your spiritual technology. Okay? So, also, with those 5 things, I'm going to repeat those 5 things. So, the disconnection from your original essence led to internal discord and self-contempt. That is 1, okay? Exhaustion, burnout, becoming numb to your own body, your own emotions, and loss of your creative spark. So now you're unable to even connect with your intuition, with your own inner wisdom, because of the self-contempt, because of the exhaustion, because of the burnout. You cannot connect to your intuition because your intuition is buried underneath all of those things. Okay? So to remember you is an awakening of that intuition, of your essence. And it happens in the stillness and the quiet of your body. That awakening, that reawakening of your essence is where the reconnection begins. When you allow yourself to recognize your body again, to own your womanhood, to own your sensuality, you start to reconnect. You start noticing the wisdom in your body, which is your intuition. You start to notice the softness of your essence, which is why, and I've talked about this before, I mentioned this in the first part as well, which is why the strong Black woman is such a limiting and damaging label that stemmed from religion. Okay. But I've already talked about that. I'll probably just focus on it again, but I wanted to bring it up again in this series. So when you begin to reconnect, you start noticing the wisdom in your body, which is your intuition. You start to notice the softness. You start to appreciate the softness of your essence. And you start to notice the power of your pleasure. When you are not connected to your body, you don't even know what your desires are. You don't even know what you want. Oftentimes, when we think of pleasure, our mind immediately goes to sex. Yes, that is a part of it. However, pleasure overall is being accepting of your own desire, being accepting of what you want. And that can be as simply as, I want a house that has big bay windows. That is part of pleasure because that is a part of your desire. And part of you reconnecting with your spiritual authority is being able to connect with your desire. And we'll go into that more in detail in another video. But this lays the foundation for us. All right. Now, in your remembrance is your awakening. Okay. In your awakening is wholeness. Is wholeness. You knowing, remembering your role as the original woman is about wholeness and fullness over your overall well-being. This is when embodiment comes in. This is where rest becomes a ritual, not a reward. Not a reward. This is where you start to create, not control. This is where you start to feel instead of pushing your emotions away. So your essence is not something that you have to go out there and find, because it's not lost. To say that you're finding something, that's why I cringe when I hear people say, I'm finding my purpose, as if your purpose is lost. No, your purpose can never be lost. All right. Your essence is not something you have to find. It's just something that you have to remember and reconnect with. Your authority as the original woman was also not lost. Your spiritual technology is not lost because it is in your blood. You only have to remember, you only have to be aware. So, if this message is stirring you, I want you to connect with the stir. Listen to the stir. Your essence is responding. Okay? Now, if you want to go further, don't forget to subscribe, not to just this channel, but I want you to subscribe and lock in. If you're going to lock into anything, I know that's the trend now. If you're going to lock into anything, lock into your essence, lock into your becoming again. All right. You remembering your essence. All right. You did not free yourself from religion to stay in dogma. You also did not free yourself from religion to bring that dogma over into your spirituality either. So this is all a part of it. In your remembrance is your awakening. In your awakening is your wholeness. All right. So if you have not done this already, I want you to go to unleashedalchemy.com, where you can download a complimentary guide that will help you detangle from dogma and will help you unleash your alchemy. Okay, share this video. I appreciate all of the new subscribers that have come on. I see you all sharing the videos. I also see you all downloading the podcast episodes. This is amazing. Unleashed Alchemy is growing. So continue to do that. I appreciate you all for your continual comments and your engagement. All right. So until next time, be awakened.